Hello, beautiful people. It is Kanika popping back in with another video. Now, if you are new here, first off, thank you for popping in, watching this video. If you find this video helpful, go ahead and do me a solid. Go ahead and like and comment this video, but then also hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified every single time I post a new video. Now, you clicked on this video because you're trying to figure out some life hacks to decluttering, some really tangible, practical things that you can implement really in your day-to-day life to declutter, to cut down on some of the clutter that you have accumulated over the time that you've been in your space, right? Now, if you're wondering who I am, I'm a professional organizer. So this is literally stuff that I live, breathe, and eat. I teach my clients how to do this. I implement the same things that I'm going to be sharing with you in my own day-to-day life. And so again, I actually have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to really creating a home that feels good, that is productive, that is efficient, that is not filled with clutter. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the things that are going to help you move the needle when you're thinking about the clutter and decluttering in your home. Now, if you're not aware, there are tons of studies that tie clutter and stress and mental health together, right? There are tons of studies that kind of talk about, if your home is cluttered, then you tend to have a higher cortisol level, which is the hormone that dictates the stress, right? If your home is cluttered and, overwhelming, then you tend to have more mental health issues, right? And so if you recognize that, oh man, I'm always stressed or I'm not feeling the greatest mentally, take a look around your home to see if you can kind of pinpoint some of the reasons as to why that may be. You may be able to look around and see that, oh, probably it's because my home is cluttered and I don't feel, good in my home. And that's what's causing me to not feel so great mentally, internally, right? And even how you interact with other people in your day-to-day life. The focus here is to give you some tangible tips that you can implement to declutter so that you could just feel better, so that your home can look and feel better and be more efficient, so that you can just do the things that you want to do and not be so bogged down with the physical clutter, the mental clutter that you have accumulated over time. I'm going to do my best to give you all some, examples of what I mean by the tips that I'm sharing. So let's just go ahead and dive in. All right, y'all. Hack number one is to start small. Where I see so many people go wrong is they dedicate too much of their time, their effort, their energy at the very beginning of their decluttering journey and try to start in spaces that are just entirely too big. So if you have amassed a lot of clutter in your garage over the course of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that is not the space to start. I want you to start small. Make it a small project. So let's say your kitchen needs to be fully decluttered. That is going to be a bigger project, right? In terms of decluttering, because you have so many different categories within your kitchen. So an example of starting small in your kitchen would be, okay, I'm going to just pare down the appliances in my kitchen. I am going to just pare down the utensils in my kitchen. I am going to pare down these plastic bags that I keep picking up from Walmart and Kroger and Trader Joe's and all these other places. I'm going to pare down on the plastic bags, right? And the power behind doing this is that you are going to, well, really it's a handful of things, but I like to call them mini win cycles. And so when you think about kind of like the snowball effect, right? As the snowball kind of goes down, rolls down, it picks up more and more and more snow, making the snowball bigger. Same concept applies here. As you kind of get more mini decluttering projects under your belt, you develop a better skill set in decluttering. You kind of build up your decluttering muscle. You make it easier to have a better process that you can follow, space by space when it comes to decluttering. And you get more confident in your decisions to make effective and objective, decisions as it pertains to the things in your home. And so that's why I want you to start small. A lot of people just completely skip it. A lot of people will reserve their entire Saturday and Sunday to go tackle that garage, make a bigger mess than what was there before they started, pull everything out, get overwhelmed, and then leave it, right? Because it's just too much. Start small, work your way up, develop those mini win cycles that I referenced, and you will be well on your way. Okay. Number two is to get in the habit of decluttering often. Now, a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I do my spring cleaning or I declutter once a year. something that is not as consistent as I would recommend. I recommend you just getting in the habit of decluttering often. And what that looks like for me as it pertains to my home is I'll notice like sometimes, spaces in my home get harder to kind of manage or get harder to kind of, access or put things back. I'll, then take a look and be like, okay, I've added way too much stuff in this space over the last, week, 2 weeks, month. And now it's time for me to pare things down because it's making it harder for me to, access the space, use the space in a way that is efficient, that is productive for me. And so, for example, for my cleaning products, I enjoy, trying out different cleaning products, whether they are, organic stuff, natural things, or, homemade things that I'm making. So I'll buy, big old thing of apple cider vinegar, or I'll buy, all of these, cleaning concentrates that I mix in with water. I'll buy all of these things. And over the course of a month, I'm like, why is my under the sink area so hard to access or so hard to put things back? And so that's a really good opportunity for me to be like, okay, Kanika, you need to pare some of this stuff down, right? You need to go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff, consolidate some of these bottles, or simply trash things or recycle however I need to discard them properly, but get them out of my space if I recognize that I don't love, use, or need them. And so that is just an example of how you can stay in practice of decluttering more often and not reserving, decluttering to one time throughout the year or even twice throughout the year. Get in the practice of just, constantly decluttering things, especially when you're noticing that your spaces are hard to manage or hard to access, or it's more difficult for you to keep spaces tidy because of the overflow of things that are being introduced to that space. Hack number 3. This is one of the biggest things. As a professional organizer, you guys know I am going in and out of client spaces almost on the daily, right? And what I notice about my clients, and this is not any shade to any one of my clients. If any of my clients is watching this, y'all know I love you dearly. But I do recognize that people truly are not intentional about the things that come into their home. Acquiring or accumulating things is very simple. Shopping is easily accessible. We have the online shopping. People like to go shopping on the weekends. People like to, bring things back from their trips, their vacations. Bringing things back into your home is just very, very easy to do. And what I notice people are not doing is being intentional about the things that are coming into their home. I want you to be more cognizant of the things that you welcome into your space. You are the gatekeeper of your home. You get to decide what comes in, what stays, and what leaves. And so with that in mind, just kind of look around your space and see what things are intentional. And if you can say, I really don't know why I have this. I have not used this thing in a long time. I don't love this thing, right? That means those things aren't intentional. And can you pare down on those things? Can you easily let them go because they don't meet the requirements of love, use, or need? That is how you kind of determine what the intentions of all of the things that you have in your home are. Now, hack number 4, I honestly think might be my favorite because it forces you to kind of think or be more proactive about the clutter buildup in your home. So hack number 4, I want you to have a dedicated space for the things that tend to cause clutter in your home. My favorite example, y'all, these grocery bags. If you look like me, I know y'all got them grocery bags under your cabinet. And you just, you stuff all of the bags, you just stuff them all, and then they just kind of create havoc under the cabinets or on the floor in the pantry. If you know, right? Have a dedicated space for the bags. This is just an example. But once that dedicated space is overwhelmed or full of the bags, you can't keep no more. You got to recycle them. Go ahead and take them to Publix, put them in that little, recycling bin at the front of the store and call it a day. Have a dedicated space for the things that tend to cause clutter in your home. Now, I'm going to take a quick pause. I've shared with you guys 4 hacks that you can implement right now when it comes to decluttering in your home so that you just have a space that feels productive and actually have some tangible things that work. So far, which hack is the most helpful for you? Meet me in the comments and let me know because I definitely want to engage with you guys as it pertains to decluttering because y'all, honestly, decluttering is not as hard as people kind of create it to be in their minds. And once you develop a process that works for you, you're free forever, right? From the clutter, right? Because now you have a process or a plan to attack it. Go ahead, meet me in the comments. Let me know which one thus far is going to be the most helpful or resonates the most with you. And I'm going to keep going with the additional hack. All right, hack number 5, you have to get comfortable with letting go. A lot of times people kind of struggle with letting go, with decluttering, because one, sometimes a misconception of if I declutter, I have to get rid of all of my stuff. I have to get rid of the things that I love, use, and need. That's not the proper way to think about, decluttering. I want you to reframe your thinking when you're thinking about decluttering. Decluttering is more so the act of creating space for the things that you love, use, and need. That's what I like to tell all of my clients. That's what I tell myself when I'm going through my decluttering process. I am creating space for the things that I actually want in my home. And so when you can reframe the way you think about decluttering, it makes the process of, actively decluttering a little bit more simple or productive for you. And then another thing that I notice when it comes to, people struggling to pare down or declutter different things in their homes are these kind of arbitrary attachments that we create. We create, hypothetical situations or scenarios as to why we should keep some things, or we kind of create attachments to things that to someone else may be nonsensical or maybe, a little rational, but you have created this really big reason or truth behind why you should keep something. And it's kind of holding you again hostage to the things that are in your home. So again, get in the practice or get comfortable with the idea of letting go of things that truly do not serve you, do not serve your home, that are not intentional, that are things that you don't truly love, use, or need. It will make you feel lighter at home. The energy will suddenly enhance. I promise you, all of my clients say this. It's a powerful thing to do and to be able to do successfully and do it confidently when you kind of get in the practice of doing it. Okay, so I know I mentioned that one of the other ones before was my favorite, but as an organizer, this might take the cake. It literally might take the cake. And that is to honor the limitations of your home. No, your home is not too small. No, you don't need to move and start over. None of that, right? Now, as a professional organizer, I am definitely tasked to creating magic when I'm working with my clients in terms of, helping them pare down their items, but then also fitting in a functional, organized, practical way what is left in their space, right? And so obviously I have to get a little bit creative. I have to figure out how to best optimize the space. But even within those parameters, I still know that I have to honor the limitations of the space that they have. And so that is the same thing that I want you to do. If you live in a smaller home, just simply put, you have to have less stuff. If you want your space to feel, breathable and to feel like your sanctuary and to be functional and practical and efficient, all of those power words, right? If you have a smaller home, you need to own less stuff. You have to honor the limitations of your home. And just because you have a bigger home doesn't necessarily mean that you have to fill all the space. That is also another concept that we could probably dive into in a whole nother video. But just because you have a bigger space doesn't mean that you need to fill it. There's nothing wrong with blank space or white space. I actually encourage having blank and white space in your home if you can. 7 is to just dedicate a certain amount of time each day to declutter, right? Whether that is 15 minutes, I recommend 30 minutes. I call this my power of 30, where you literally just set a timer for 30 minutes and you get to work. Start in one area of your home, again, a smaller space in your home or a smaller category of items in your home, and just start with 30 minutes a day to declutter. Now, you are probably not going to be motivated all the time to do this, but if you can, apply some discipline, dedicate 30 minutes of turn on a podcast and listen to something and declutter. It is going to make a world of difference when you are thinking about how you are paring down, when you're thinking about creating a decluttering process that feels good to you and that actually is productive for you in terms of creating more space, more intentional space in your home. Set the timer, get to work, and literally just do it. It's very tangible, it's very practical. Everyone has 15 to 30 minutes that they can spare throughout their day, I'm sure. And then the last tip here is to manage the hot spots in your home. Now, hot spots are typically areas that just get real overwhelmed, real cluttered, real quick, right? So maybe that is the shoe area, the shoe zone when you first walk in the house. Maybe it kind of gets messy. Maybe it is your flat surfaces on your dining table or your coffee table or something like that, right? Create a system that makes sense for that hot spot, right? So for me, for example, if I don't have nothing on my tables, if there's no decor or no decorative element on the table, it will turn into a hotspot real quick. And I'll show you some of the different spaces in my home that are just kind of flat surfaces, my tables. There's decor on them to kind of help me deter creating hotspots on those tables. And so the same thing applies for you. Create a system or add some type of decorative element to the hotspots in your home to deter you or your family members from cluttering up that space. All right, beautiful people. Again, this is Kanika, professional organizer, owner of Tidy by K. I am hoping that you guys found this video helpful. You guys already know what to do. Like and comment on the video. Let me know your 2 cents. If you found this video helpful, I'd love to hear what questions you have. And if you have not yet, do your girl a solid. Go ahead and subscribe to this video so that you can be notified every time I post a new video. I will talk to y'all later. All right, y'all. Peace.